this. So yeah, sorry about the previous one being a little bit jacked up. Basically, what had happened, like I was explaining at the time, I have a few issues with this computer. So every now and then, stuff just goes completely awry for no apparent reason. Now, I don't remember who I actually had starting it off last time, so we'll just go ahead and pull a mulligan and see what we have here. Let's see. Do I have a random wheel up? I don't have a random wheel up. Kind of want to see FF8 versus FF4-ish, but I think we had that fight before. Actually, no, we had Live Live versus Pokemans. That's what it was. So let's go ahead and make that happen. As I recall, it was actually getting to be a pretty close fight. So yeah, actually, let's go ahead and do that thing. Yes. Oh wait. Sorry if I'm sounding a little bit weird today. Like I was explaining last time as well, a nice, joyful weekend full of everybody getting all kinds of wonderfully sick, so all kinds of fun there. But yeah, such is life, right? Such is life. There's probably... Okay, we're gonna have a little bit of stutter real quick while I test it. Chat's working, as per usual. It should be stuttering a little bit less now, because I did, kind of a lengthy restart sort of thing. Alright, there we go. Let's pop that sucker in there, and yes, we are getting a little bit of stutter right there, but chat's good. So, stutter should be gone now. What was I getting out of here? Not sure. So, 93 is officially out. There's going to be a little bit of a fix that's coming out by the sounds of it, just so you know. In which it actually turns out, if you happen to have been going through Chapter 1, there was a thing with Breon, specifically that his portrait would sometimes just not show up on newer files. So, it's aesthetic, like usual, but either way, it sounds like he's already got it figured out, so expect to see a patch for that at some point soon. You know, the joys of modding a thing that doesn't want to be modded, all that kind of stuff. It's actually, I don't know, I'm still hoping that by the end of all of it, he'd be willing to do like a little bit of an interview type thing. Because I'd love to be able to get some of those horror stories. It's like some of those things like, oh yeah, you know, I tried to go change the palette of a knife or something, and suddenly Olivia ceased to exist. Which is, like, at first it seems like a weird thing for that to happen. But then if you go and you try to mess with any of the hex editor codes or any of that, that can literally happen. Like, there was one time that I was trying to change one stat. I think I was trying to change vitality or health or MP or something. And I thought, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to bother Rakes about this. You know, I've got some previous codes I can work off of. I can kind of just, you know, replace the numbers that seem like they make sense to replace. And yeah, so I replaced one number, and suddenly, like, I don't know if it was an entire class or every other character or something. Just like a bunch of people just turned into Olivia for some reason. No idea why. I was trying to change a stat, so I wouldn't even think anything like that would be related, but who knows, right? Who knows? Such is life. Alright, so Charizard's starting to fly. The Dodrio's getting in there. He's kind of grown some scale since last time. Maybe this is his Super Evolution or whatever. Mega Evolution, whatever. There we go. Okay, got Pidgequad with his wing attack down there. They're doing alright. Like, if I were to guess, I would say probably Pokemon between these two, just because they've got more, like, raw power to them. Last time it ended up being a lot more even, though, just because both those first two Petrifies hit, but then, you know, everything crashed. So play it as it lays and all that kind of thing. There we go. I mean, as far as direct damage, I'd say the Live team has more of that. Not to mention they've actually got finishers on their side. Most of the smaller teams had finishers. The one exception for absolutely certain was the Avalon team, just because he has, like, he shows that the entire game. Like, his whole mindset is just run up and hit thing. He never really gets any more strategic or special than that. Which is weird. Still manages to be a thoroughly entertaining, like, 10-hour RPG out of that. Just, like, running up and hitting stuff. Man. They're not doing a good job dodging, though. Oh, and he keeps getting that Sprogmos off, too. Alright, alright. I'd say this is going relatively one-sided so far. But, you know, it's too early to call still. They've only lost one guy. They've currently got even numbers, and technically speaking, that would still put the Live team one ahead as far as attacking numbers go. Since the Pokerman's team has one guy that's just on support. So, there we go. Mr. Sundown pulling off his big boom over there. Yeah, the 2 poisons will probably make a big difference by the end of the fight. That's the thing, the AI, you may have noticed that they have a, like, if they have the option, they will generally opt to try and get rid of poison as soon as possible. And I think they might have programmed it that way just because they are, like, with how much they tend to derp around and waste time and all that kind of thing, you do end up seeing a lot of them just, like, dying to poison because they don't know what to do about it. So, something like that. Throwing all his heals down that way. It's like sitting there doing his football pose, checking all these heals. Yeah, there we go. See, they're getting big AoEs as well. This is why we do it this way. This is why we do quick skill rank up, because it just lets them pull a comeback, and it doesn't always necessarily guarantee it either. Like usually, there's not even much of a usually on that one actually. It can go either way. It's hard to say for sure. Man, I'm gonna have to end up getting more water. Alright, he's not really upgrading himself too much. He might be. Yeah, so when it came to the Live team, the weird thing about them and putting the entire team together is just the fact that they had so dang many skills that it was hard to really find one-to-ones for all of them. So that's why at a certain point I was like, okay, you know what, they're clearly just... they're going for all of the stuff that one would expect them to be able to do. So what I'm going to do is just let them... just kind of let them have all their weapon skills and all that. It's like all these are just basically variants on do some fancy punch even fancier, so... why not? You know, same difference. Alright, let's see. That one's poisoned, or envenomed rather. I forgot Bad Blood has envenomed now. It's pretty strong. Yeah, but they have to cut through a lot of HP. They haven't even gotten one down yet. There goes Cube. I think he had some of the stronger abilities on the team, but he never got a chance to use them. Like, I'm gonna say this is probably gonna end up being pretty one-sided. Also, come to think of it, she should have double attack. Why is she not double attacking? Gotta double check that. Not to mention they've hit so many 40%, it's kind of ridiculous. Do you not have double attack? Weird, okay. That's an oversight on my part, that's my bad. Well, I'm not sure that double attack would have made the difference. It seems like it's mostly sucky luck that's making the difference here. Like I said, it was a lot closer last time where they were able to disable 2 of them with a skull mask. But that guy is currently about to bleed out over on the right side there. Yeah, I think Nightboy might be able to do some business here, but it's kind of unclear. World's Strongest Punchy Man might have some chance, I guess? Like, they're finishing off a couple of them, okay. That might make the difference. It's unclear how much of a difference it'll make. And oh man, that parry though! Okay, he's pulling it back. He's pulling it back. Alright, whatever. Kind of rooting for the Live team. Just want to see how they'd possibly pull this off. Go figure. Nails the 5% parry. Just like completely fails to dodge a 25% hit. Oh well. Oh well, as you do. Oof, 100% disembowel. That's not good for him. It's not good at all. Alright. Nice. Still chucking seeds and things. Excuse me. Hang on. got a guest doggo for a little bit. He's, we're gonna go with very vigilant. Very vigilant. And yeah, need more water, get an old dragon. I swear, all these dang stomach bugs need to stop. It's been a never-ending, just like, carousel of disease for months now. All too ready for summer to show up. All in time for some new summer diseases to show up, of course. It's like, what, 5, 6 something rounds of all kinds of nastiness in a row? Something like that. But yeah, mostly it's just kind of annoying to talk, because it's like this random dry throat thing that comes up. Kinda sucks. And yeah, I'm gonna say the Live team, despite having a pretty strong terrain advantage here, there's not really much that they can do to pull this back now. Especially if this Delirium ends up hitting both of them. Yeah. That's them wiped out. Guess realistically they shouldn't have had much of a chance. But oh well. You know, they did their best. And also, let's see here. Gonna get rid of some buttons here so that I don't have to adjust anything. So I keep having to get rid of buttons on Excel. There it is. So now we can mark that one red. Perfect. So, is this last guy gonna do it? Hi there, Evan. Must have missed XDiv go down after you had fixed their shields. Oh yeah, no, they went for rematches against FFT and Game of Thrones, and FFT they lost pretty decisively, because they ended up getting a pretty early lead on them there. But then Game of Thrones was going really close. It looked like the XDiv team was gonna win, and then just like basically Braun runs around the side and just shanks all of them, and then they, for some reason, all of them decide, hey, this one guy needs all the Mendleaves shoved down his throat, and so they just kept getting stuck in Mendleaf hell. And so just like this one guy was able to carve down the last 6 of them. It's just nuts. But that's what we do AI fights. It's fun like that. Sometimes the AI just derps out and you don't know what's going to happen. It's actually what made Formula Front so fun to do. Because, you know, many times you could call the fight right away, like the one guy with napalm rockets and bazookas on a tank is probably going to beat the ultra lightweight with energy problems, but, you know, when you have those ones that were a pretty even fight and then all of a sudden one of them got stuck, like, just like clipped on a tiny bit of terrain and took a blade to the face, but then somehow managed to flank the other guy and like parry bladed him in the back, which has happened before. Oh wait. Yeah, I love how I didn't even have a cough and now I just suddenly have a cough because of reasons. Let's see. Plus Braun is the man, only to be bested by the king. Exactly. Exactly. And I'm pretty sure he just gave him that fight. So, did you end up watching the thing yesterday? So, let's see. I kind of want to do Chrono Trigger versus Secret of Mana. Let's do that one. But yeah, I saw a bunch of people were, I guess, potential spoilers if you haven't gone and watched that episode of Game of Thrones yet. But yeah, I saw quite a few people were kind of pissed about it. So usually a week behind? Okay. Heard it was dark? Yeah, okay, so apparently, like, if someone wasn't intentionally brightening the screen, like, it just got super dark. Like, it was really, really difficult to see pretty much anything, to a pretty absurd degree, because they were kind of going for this whole light and dark kind of thing there. Mostly what got people a bit iffy about it was just the writing. So you don't mind spoilers, I usually read things anyway. Yeah, same here. Usually I go and read spoilers before I even have a chance to go watch anything. Like, I've never seen like a friggin' Endgame, but I, looked up the spoilers the second they came out, so I was curious what would happen. But yeah, it's mostly a time-saving thing. But yeah, the complaints were largely stuff like, well, they had an army of, like, what was it? I think about, like, 100,000 or 160 or whatever thousand. I think that's what it was. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. And then, like, the only characters to survive are most of the named characters. Just like, why do they suddenly have plot armor? Like, everyone had all these drinking games set up, like, oh man, these guys are gonna die, these guys are gonna die, these ones are gonna die over here, because they're over in this hole here. And, yeah, all of a sudden, it's just... You know what? The whole comparison to Lord of the Rings, like, the movie version there, it's pretty much like that. Like, where there's a bunch of stuff where they did really, really dumb things and totally should have died, especially in the context of the show. But then they just survive anyway. Like, they just keep building it up, like, oh man, they're totally gonna die off. Look, they fell down in a pile of like 1 billion zombies, and nobody's around to help them. Oh wait, they're fine. Then they do it again a few minutes later. I mean, they basically do that with almost all the characters. There were a few secondary characters, at least one of whom is confirmed to already just be just fine in the next episode. I think they only fully killed off one guy. Or no, they fully killed off like 2 characters that anyone cared about. And then another secondary one. That was about it. And then other than that, they just reduced all their background stat numbers. It's like, oh, all your army stats went down. Because apparently charging with cavalry into infantry is somehow a good idea. As in, like, head-on, not friggin' flanking or whatever. See, Lord of the Rings was high fantasy, so it was all about the heroes. Yeah, that... not sure GO2 is the same? Exactly. It just seemed really not Game of Thronesy is the thing. Like, it... Cinematography-wise, it was pretty dang awesome. Like, I will say I definitely skipped through a bunch of it, because it was... You know, it was kind of late and I needed to get to bed, but generally speaking, like visually, it was pretty awesome, but... just most of the rest of the stuff made no sense in context. Like, again, the biggest one being that they have a crapload of cavalry, like, just like shock cavalry, and they're like, okay, there's an endless horde. Just run at them! Yeah, great. You've got nowhere to maneuver either. Like, they're showing this map. Like, they show a map the episode prior, and, like, they just have this wall of, like, little figurines and all that kind of thing. And, like, they're basically just showing, like, they're completely surrounded and everything. So they've got nowhere to maneuver. But, yeah. 2% of the Season 4 onward are pretty spotty writing. Yeah. I think that was the point where the show got to start writing its own thing. Like, I was watching this interview that they did for after the episode. Oh, wait, what's this? What the, huh? Weird. Okay. No idea. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, once they got past the books, like once they got out of the books writing and whatever else, it started getting real iffy. Like, especially in regards to just, I guess, not really respecting humanity of characters and all that kind of thing. Like, I guess that was a big part of that last episode there. It's like, look at Season 3, for example. I think it was Season 3. Like, where they have the Redwater fight and all that kind of thing. Where they show all these characters fighting and everything else, and after a few minutes, they come back into the gates, and they all, you know, stop for a drink of water, and they stop to rest and everything, because it turns out fighting makes you really super frickin' tired. And in this one, they're just, like, sitting and hacking away and going all Superman on everybody for, like, you know, friggin' 20-30 minutes or whatever. And, yeah, they're just fine. They're a little bit tired, but other than that, they're just fine. They don't have, like, any rotations going on. Nobody's using any kind of strategy whatsoever. It's just like, oh, man, I'm just gonna stand here and just stand on the front line and just stab things real good, and that's how wars happen. But yeah, no, it was more visual than mental. That's for sure. Definitely was a bit on the iffy side. So, alright, let's look at the score here. How are we doing? Alright, so over on this side, they've lost 2, but they've got a lot more healing going on. At least I think they do. Looks like Chrono Trigger Team's doing okay, though. Probably going to be winning it, but we'll see. But yeah, just point being, you know, they had a bunch of characters just go down repeatedly and just come back just fine. They had a whole bunch of like siege equipment that they just kind of stopped using halfway through. Like it was specifically like flaming boulders and that kind of thing. What was it? Right at the very end. Like, do you want a spoiler as far as it does kind of come out of nowhere how is it, man, even mentioning it's kind of a spoiler. The outcome. Let's just say the outcome seemed really random. They probably could have handled that better. Oh man, he just barely made it. Okay, so yeah, spoilers for anyone that that didn't already watch it then, for like the next 30 seconds here. But yeah, no, dude guy. Oh, you know about them all anyway? Okay. Yeah, dude guy doesn't even get a friggin' hit off after killing off Theon there. Like, he just doesn't even get a swing off. For some reason, they make a big point of how they can automatically know where everybody is at all times, but then just like Arya runs up and stabs the head guy in the back, and that's just the end of it. He just gets stabbed once, and that's it. And not just anywhere, he gets stabbed like right through the breastplate too. It's like, how sucky was your armor this whole time? After, I mean, they do try to burn him with a dragon and everything, so I guess at that point he's pretty confident that nothing can kill him. But when it seems like the only, like, if there's a rare thing that they seem to have used exclusively for really plinky weapons and or, you know, sidearms and things like that, they don't seem to have made many spears out of it. Like, why, you know, spears or anything else, I guess. Why exactly would he have, like, nothing going on right here? He just gets stabbed, like, right here. It's like, you'd think that's where it would be strongest. I'm just saying. He's got, like, a vest and some mail and everything else, and she's just like, shank. But yeah, the books are probably, or the book version's probably going to be different. None of it seemed to really make sense. Because they more or less got plot blindness. A lot of the other characters ended up just getting plot armor. It's just plot blank almost the entire time. See, also not sure what the book... Hang on, let me move this a little bit so I can read it better. Oh no, it's making weird noises. See, also not sure what book I was reading, but I think most soldiers in war died from dehydration or heat exhaustion as opposed to actual fighting. The earlier part about a prolonged battle, yeah, I mean, that's why they always had them running in cycles. It's something that you really don't see done in movies that often. Like, actually, they try to do the opposite in a lot of movies, because they're like, oh man, look at this coward, he ran away from the fight to go get a drink or something. Like, no. People get tired, and they need to take a break. Can't just, like, sit there and stab stuff all day and just get better. Like, I think that's one of those one of the bits that I appreciated a hell of a lot when reading Gates of Fire, that they were specifically covering all those little logistics and stuff like that. Like, there was a bunch of really impossible stuff, but they were basically going in cycles throughout the entire book. Like, oh, you know, we went in there and we were fighting for like 10 minutes, and everybody looked like they were ready to die, and, you know, they were ready to collapse and everything. And then these other guys went in, and then they're all fighting, and they're, like, giving stories of, like, how some of them were too tired to even, you know, even retreat back to their line, so they're getting, like, trampled by their own guys while their relief wave comes in and stuff like that. It's like that kind of stuff. It's interesting. It needs to get covered more, you know? It was kind of, well, I guess one of the bigger parts of, well, just any warfare, pretty much at any point in history. But especially back in the day when everybody had to manually swing stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that Chrono Trigger's winning it here. I'm not really seeing how the Secret Man team's making it back. So, of the ones that are left, are there any that you'd like to see, Mr. Evan? Or anyone else that would happen to be here? I can't actually see if anyone else is here, but either way, if anyone's got a request, do let me know. Will say on a side note, you saw that little ghost move right there? I really appreciate the one of the things that One Vision had changed. So there's specifically a crossbow move in the vanilla version. The rank 6 one that's like a burst fire thing, but for some reason it uses that animation. And so it's supposed to be for every one of those like eye flashes, it's firing another bolts and that kind of thing. But yeah, so the way that he had actually redone it for One Vision and all that, is that Necromancers just get a special move that basically has them fire and then get attacked by spiraling ghosts instead. Just kind of a random note, but I love that little nod there. Because I will say, as much as I love the idea behind the original of, like, you know, you're firing a bolt that ghosts are guiding, it makes more sense in the second context than the first one. Because, yeah, most of the time it was on Dragoons, and they're like, yeah, let me just suddenly use my ghost powers to go kill this dragon, I guess? I don't know. It was weird. It was kind of random. You could tell that they were going for, like, a rifle motif. Oh, by the way, I put the ranged finishers up the other day onto the guide. I don't know if I ever actually announced that anywhere. Whatever. Either way, finished it the other day. But just point being, they were kind of going for, like, a rifle or, like, a modern rifle kind of thing with the crossbows, where you had like almost a grenade launcher kind of thing for your first one, then you have like a crippling shot for the second one, and then like a burst fire for the third, and then basically a flashbang for the fourth. So I don't know. Not really sure why they went for that. Though I will say, having whenever playing through the originals, there's one run that I really love to do that I was just called Modern Army Run, in which it was just like you can use a basic dagger and a crossbow, and that's the only weapons you can use. And yeah, that mess was fun, like especially for Knight of Lodis, like where they both genders actually had a similar look to them and that kind of thing. I mean, yes, it was pretty plinky at times. Like you were basically doing 10 damage for most of the fight, or most of the game, until you got composite crossbows. But still, like it was fun. It's definitely one of the better ones, I feel, even if it is a little slow. Right, you know what? Actually, they might have a chance here. I mean, they're still holding it together. Alrighty. You know, I almost want to see Dark Souls vs. Game of Thrones now that I think about it. I think that's the only team that has dragons on it still. Maybe FFT, but I think we had Game of Thrones vs. FFT. Not sure. Not sure about a lot of things, such as life. What I do know is I want to finish up with this tournament thing so that we can get on with that AI tournament, or that AI run. Which I actually meant to start today, but technical issues in general, not feeling well, and like something like I think like a dozen or so diapers since this morning. There's just like an endless poo fest because stomach bugs are great. But yeah, that's one thing that's that often gets joked about, but never probably doesn't get mentioned as much as it should be. Like the scary part, as far as kids go, it's not when they're super pissed off or whatever else, because usually, you know, there's stuff you can do about that. But when there's those moments where, like, suddenly one is sick, and just the moment that cough hits, that first cough happens, you know, that first, like, sick look, that first, you know, you pull out your little hand scanner thing and check their temperature. But yeah, the very first time you see that, it's like, it's always just an immediate look that passes over the look of everybody in the room. It's like, yep, we're all getting this. We're all getting this. So that's always fun. But yeah. So you don't think I ever saw GOT versus FFT unless I missed it? Pretty sure it happened, I'm not sure. Could do that one. Two sick kids is terrifying, no amount of Lysol can help that? Yeah. Doesn't stop us from having 2 cans of Lysol at all times just to spray down everything. You know, hopefully it does something. Like, sometimes if you can contain the area, you know, you can kind of, sort of do it. But yeah. It really, really depends. You know what? I have to say, Duran here is doing a pretty good job. Yeah, he's kind of carrying this team right now. They actually have a chance to come back. Let's see. Yeah, Kevin's at full health. Carly's keeping them all healed up here. Carly, who I was insulting constantly over the course of my Secret Mana 2 run. Duran, the friggin' tank over here, who's just 1 piece shy of the Ogre set. That's on purpose. He's supposed to be evasive. Let's see, over here we got Chrono stopped. He's stuck in time stasis, I guess. Marley's doing okay, Frog's doing okay, Rova's doing okay, Iva's doing okay. I think it's Marley that's doing the healing here for the team. Oh, never mind. Never mind, I paused it right before it became unwinnable for them. Never mind, I'll just go ahead and mark them off then. Like, unless they get stuck in Mending Leaf, of course. Whatever, I'm gonna say it's a pretty safe bet that they're gone. It's a pretty safe bet. Like, despite the fact that Kevin's got damage for days. Like, the double cursed fist weapons are pretty friggin' amazing. Just double cursed anything is pretty amazing in this mod. Oh, right, I forgot they had the better items, too. So I guess that'll... I mean, that could keep him going. That'd be pretty impressive if they managed to pull this out still. That 25%, though. I'm gonna say it's technically winnable, but extraordinarily unlikely. No, never mind. Durant's gone. Kevin would have to pull out some utter beastliness to pull this off now. Especially if he's asleep, except he didn't get knocked out. I have to say, I really appreciate the shockwave move. Just because it puts him to sleep a good bit of the time. Yeah, they've definitely lost this. So we're gonna do GOT versus FFT next then. Alright, fair enough. She uses that little hook hand. We'll say, as a side note, I don't know why this never occurred to me, but previously, when I was doing my my last vanilla run, somehow I never realized that the Dragon Claw actually does complete the Dragon set. Like the Dragon Slayer set. No idea why that never occurred to me. Like, I guess it's just, it never really seemed like a thing that would happen. Alright, so, GOT versus FFT, who's first? Alright, any bets here? Basically, we got GOT coming in with a lot more like front-loaded AoE moves and stuff like that, as well as one very effective heal, but no heals aside from that that aren't basic medicine. And then over on the FFT side, we've got a bunch of weird builds doing all kinds of weird build stuff. I'm still pretty confident that they're going to win the tournament, but we'll see how it goes. Right now, GOT definitely started off on the better side, hiding behind the walls, as they probably should have done in the show. Just saying. Like, no, let's put all our dudes right in front. That's a good idea. It's like, I love how they always do that in movies. Just because, like, the context of that is always kind of weird. It's like, they're always like, oh man, look at these pictures. They show how people are in front of the walls. It's like, yeah, but they also had all kinds of defensive structures up there, and then they were the first line of defense so that the other ones could get more damage in. Then they had more stuff set behind that. Let's see, GOT has been pretty strong. Don't know if FFT can overcome them. Alright. Sounds good. You're betting GOT, I'm betting FFT. Let's see how it goes. The Reaver Ring still doesn't work for dragons, by the way. I don't know if I think that was patched in the other version. I'm still using the same version just for fear of anything, you know, going all wonky here. So we'll be using 93 proper for the next one. But anyway, actually, like an interesting story that I love there. This is that there was one guy during the Siege of Vienna, you know, the biggest cavalry charge in history and all that kind of thing. That a little bit, I think it was like a few weeks before they knew that the attack, or before the attack actually got there, they basically hired a guy. They hired this mercenary captain guy. He's like, okay, you know, we need some defenses here. And apparently the guy was really well versed in sieges and stuff like that. So he built all kinds of earthworks around the place, built all kinds of barricades all over the place, built all kinds of fences and whatnot. And it's one of these weird things where this guy, like, the defenses this guy put together and the way that he had all of his formations put together are literally the only reason that the city managed to hold as long as it did. Because, like, that whole biggest charge in history thing never would have even had a chance to arrive because they had to last for like a week. So yeah, it's like usually the Commonwealth and stuff like that gets credited for saving all of it. It's like, what about that guy? It's like, that guy they wouldn't be there at all if not for that guy. But yeah. I loved how, Well, I think it was extra history that did a thing about it recently. Like, especially they were covering a lot of what that guy did. And the funny part was they were explaining what all these different groups were doing after the siege was over and all that kind of thing. And apparently one of the groups had gone and like just started raiding the main camp that the Turks had set up. And they had brought so much money and crap with them because they were so confident that they were gonna like pull it off that I think it was something like they spent like a week just digging, like basically carting around jewels and gold and crap and bringing it all back. Meanwhile, the other group that got sent with them, see how did they put them? Like, oh, they managed to clear out all the trenches and everything. Not as good as finding diamonds in your forage for a week, but it's good all the same. Or no, in your I think it was like finding I think it was finding diamonds in your food, something like that. Something along those lines. All right. All right. How are we doing here? Alright. He's coming in with his quote-unquote flair in this case. Also, by the way, how's the sound doing? I feel like the sound effects and music are a little bit higher than they usually are. Is there anything they could do with going up or down? Oh yeah, I forgot she actually died too. Spoilers, I guess, despite the fact that they've been saying that for several seasons, I think. I think something like that. They've been hinting at the fact that she would die off at that fight. She doesn't even die during the fight either. She's just like, nope, job's done. Instantly vaporizes herself. I guess less vaporizes, more just ultra ages. Something like that. Everything is audible, I think it's fine. Okie dokie. Sounds good. Alright, so... Have we done Lord of the Rings versus Dark Souls? Actually, I think if... No. I think if this one wins, it's gonna have to be a rematch of Lord of the Rings versus Game of Thrones. Wasn't that one-sided, though? I'm not sure. Maybe Wild Arms versus Avalon. Maybe something like that. Or versus... Or no. Actually, Avalon versus Dark Souls, I think, makes sense. Yeah, I think that's a good one. Because, yeah, it's just one dude showing up and beating all the bosses. Why not? Why not? Well, then again, he's actually got a really good chance to potentially lose there, so... Whatever. It's all down to what the AI decides to use. Lord of the Rings versus GOT didn't go well at all? Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Alright, hang on. While this goes on, I'm gonna have to be right back real quick. Gotta go check on something. Don't worry, I'm not gonna leave it on the stutter screen this time. So I have to find where this thing is. Where are you? There it is. Alright, so I will be right back. Alrighty, and back. What are we doing here? Sorry for leaving it in kind of a weird place there. For some reason I thought I had automated text on, but it looks like I didn't. So, my bad on that one. Let's fix the jacket a little bit. Since apparently I am required to wear a suit every time now. Why not? Also, yeah, this is going way more even than I expected, actually. Let's see. So, let's see. Jorah, Tyrion, Denny, and somehow Braun are down. Meanwhile, Delita, Orlando, and Olin are down. Okay, fair enough. Rad's usually there to show up and carry it one way or another, just because he's a zombie. I just come to think that I probably should have made John a zombie. I was thinking about that last night. Let's see. See, he lost the bolo, though? Just for this one. It's like every single one's got its own thing. Like, this one is the one that you're supposed to wear on boats, so I just have it, like, open, whatever. The bola is supposed to go with the other suit there, because it's more fancy and everything. I've got ties to go with the other ones. Like, specifically, there's one that's, like, well, it's like the standard Mormon blue suit kind of thing, for lack of a better term. Which, basically, when we were going there, I was just told, you need a blue suit. I'm like, I have some greenish ones, and I got a gray one, and I got, like, this tan one. Like, no, you need a blue suit if you're gonna come here. I'm like, okay, fine. So, I got a blue suit, and yeah, sure enough, it's quite blue. Alrighty then. I think the thing is still technically a bit too big, because I couldn't afford to have it resized properly at the time. It was like one of those really weird moments where like, man, it's just super awkward. It was like one of those moments where it was right between different payments that I was expecting and everything. And then, just out of nowhere, he was like, yeah, no, you need like a $200 suit. But I can't afford to just go get it. I'm like, okay. So, went ahead and did it. And surprisingly, they had an interesting deal at the time, where they actually gave you $50 upon it. Hang on, how'd it go? It's like that, for some reason they gave you $50 that I guess were supposed to be used for alterations or something. But it was more just like, they gave back $50 for some reason. I wasn't about to complain. Definitely was not about to complain. Like, hang on, what was it? It's like if you rented one and then you brought it back and then you got a suit for free plus $50, I think was how that went. It was weird. There was some, I'm guessing, some clearance or something going on. Yeah, this could still go either way at the moment. But yeah, definitely won't be starting the AI tournament today, even if there was more time. Starting to feel a little bit iffy. And it's not one of those things you do while feeling iffy. But oh well. And then yeah, after that, I wanted the other run that I wanted to get going again was that X Division one. It was like lately I've been doing a few little practice rounds and whatever with that mod, and man, there's just so much good stuff in the new patch. Like, it's funny because so much stuff that I was regularly pointing out in the other run, like for example having a slower speed for the dogfights and having different categories for all the different items and everything, and all that kind of business, like all the little convenience changes and flamethrowers being better and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, all of it's there. It's been there the whole time. Actually, several months ago, when there was the first successful base raid, I was basically saying like, okay, you know what? Proven that this run's going well, can I just switch over to the new version on a new run? You know, it's basically just been a perfect run so far. The response was generally like, well, then it's not a first run anymore, is it? So, so I kept on with that version until finally it's like 6 or 7 patches behind. And it turns out, yeah, when I was all excited for the Millennium flamethrowers and that kind of thing, it turns out they're actually really good in the new patch. So when I was using them, they're like bouncing off of everything, doing 2 damage to a couple things. Like, well, this doesn't really hurt anything, does it? I guess I'm supposed to break its armor first? And it turns out, yeah, no, the thing just like outright melts robots and things like that. It's just, I guess its values were just slightly under where they needed to be, and technically fire doesn't cause any armor damage, so it was just basically slightly under where it should have been. One of the mod creators was explaining it to me the other day as far as how the numbers went. So I was so excited because it had just come at a moment where I lost a lot of the fancier equipment of the team and everything. I was just looking like, what can I possibly build with what's left? It's like, you can build like 16 of these mega flamethrowers, and like everything up to that run had just been amazing in terms of damage from flamethrowers, until they suddenly just stopped working. I'm like, man, maybe if this new one does its job, it's gonna be great. And yeah, they didn't do jack. They just bounced off everything. Oh well. And then, you know what? At some point I want to start doing a thing for Battle Brothers, too. That should be fun. Because that thing is awesome! It's actually a lot of similar stuff to how this game works, too. With a lot more flying decapitated heads and, like, more abilities attached to weapons. Either way, that game's pretty darn baller, I gotta say. Yeah, you know what? I think GOT's actually winning this right now. You weren't kidding. Like, it might have partially just been due to terrain advantage, but, see, Mountain's still standing, Snow is disabled, Jamie's disabled, Sandra's disabled, Arya and the Dragon are still doing just fine, but yeah, on this side, they've just got Mustadio, he's pretty slow. Rad will just come back to life. Race is... well, I guess there may not necessarily be time for him to come back to life. Wonder if there was ever, like, a actual multiplayer meta that people tried to do. I mean, I will say, in, what's it? Whenever we decide to do it, I will do, like, an actual AI tournament between whatever teams people choose to submit. So we might end up seeing this meta where somebody comes in with a crap load of zombies or whatever else, and then somebody else just happens to have Exorcism on hand. Let's see, even without Braun, they're doing alright. Yeah, he's been carrying them the last few fights. I'm surprised they're doing so well. Yeah, they're doing alright. Definitely can't say anything. It's definitely, at the very least, a close fight. Because technically, everyone on the FFT team has a much better... they were the one exception in terms of having a crapload of potential raw damage buildup over the course of the fight. So, for example, stuff like having Augment Divine, one-handed swords, and all that kind of thing. Like, for actually having those skills stacked up, they were one of the only ones that could do it. Most of the other ones either had one or none, depending on what actually fit for them. Yeah, I think after this we're going to do Avalon versus Dark Souls. See how that goes. In fact, what do you guys think? I have a playlist of all the Avalon music. I guess not necessarily all the Avalon music in particular, but the guy that made the Ooh, I think the mountain just got taken out. Is that who that was? Or no, that was Weegrath that just got... oh no, that was the Weegrath that just got taken out by the mountain, that's what it is. Ouch. Just reimagining that scene from FFT where he's all like bloody and crawling around on the floor. Except just like the mountain's there holding his severed leg. It's like, I rip it off like drumstick! Oh man. So yeah, I guess Clegane Bowl is gonna happen now. Since that they had that interview where they basically just more or less confirmed that at this point they're just going for full fan service. So yeah, Clegane Bowl is probably definitely gonna happen. Either like one of the two other siblings is almost definitely gonna kill the queen. I'm assuming Theon's sister probably comes back and kills the mercenary guy. Something like that. And then everybody just lives happily ever after with no problems whatsoever. Because plot armor. And then I guess they just have like a dramatic rooftop fight between... Actually, no. Okay, so I saw people complaining that as far as the plot for Game of Thrones there, that eventually there would have to be... Ooh, okay, Rad just got banished. I forgot she had that. Anyway, so they're saying that there had to be a fight between, like, John and Daenerys at some point. Why would there be? Like, he already basically pledged his support for her, so... Like, the guy clearly doesn't want the dang thing, so why would he care? It's probably going to be something along the lines of, like, she takes the main throne, and then she's like, hey, why don't you go rule what's left of the north, I guess? And then he's like, no, why don't you let Jaime do it or something? At which point he just presumably decides to go to rebuild the wall or something, I don't know. Would they even need it at that point? Like, they basically said that it was gone. Or that all the trouble was gone from before. So... Like, okay. Weird thing. Did they ever say, at any point in Game of Thrones, did they ever say, like, oh yeah, no, they, like, killed them off? Or were they just blocked off for thousands of years? It's one of those things that, I don't know, randomly comes to mind. Because, like, is it actually gone then? Let's see. She's very paranoid and has a competitor she has to kill him. And then, presumably, he just, like, 1v1s the dragon or something, except this time he wins. And then they just agree to disagree, I guess. Who knows? Who knows? Alright, let's see how these teams are looking. Because, yeah, this is looking very strongly in GOT's favor. Yeah, wow. Yeah, they're all on that. Yeah, no, wow. I did not expect FFT to go that way. I thought they were going to win this for sure. Alright, FFT's out. Just a matter of Mustadio now, unless he pulls off a miracle. Unless he pulls off a miracle. Because, I mean, their individual abilities aren't that strong. They're just a pretty solid team, I think. And she's just really good at supporting it. Like, I think actually what it's come down to is more often than once, it's just been the weird kinds of debuffs that she's thrown around that have decided to fight. So if the one time that they got killed off early, they just got completely curb stomped. Seeing as the children of the first men were suppressing their points, but they grew weaker and the night grew more dark. And, okay. No, they were suppressing them? Oh. Okay, yeah, so I just didn't know if they ever actually confirmed that they were all gone or not. Alright. So they live to have plot armor another day. Alright. So, next we got Dank Souls versus Avalon, of course. Where's that Dark Souls at? Here's the Dark Souls. Alright, let's do this thing. So yeah, Avalon at a massive disadvantage. It's essentially a 1v11. But we'll see how it goes. You never know. You never know. That's some pretty surprising upsets up to this point, especially where, hang on, who was it that they took out? Was it XCOM that he took out? I don't know, it was one of the other teams that I know he basically soloed. Because, you know, there's no other way for him to compete, granted. Which might potentially be a similar situation if I had gotten, dang it, what's the game? There's this one game, Albion, there we go. That was supposed to be in here, but then I never really got around to it. But it had a very similar, just overall similar aesthetic, where it was like this research ship that ends up crashing on an alien planet. And what's interesting is that you basically have like an almost old Deus Ex style inventory throughout the entire thing. But what was interesting is that, yeah, you can actually have a pistol that you carry on you through the entire game, and I guess it's there as kind of like a early newbie weapon kind of thing, because it basically one-shots anything, except it only has a certain number of shots, and then that's it. So I think you only get like 2 reloads in the entire game. Because, yeah, most of it's all primitive, and then you find out some people have magical powers or whatever. So it's just like this one guy carrying a pistol the entire time. Like, what's that thing? What's that thing? Don't ask. Don't ask. It's here to one-shot bosses. But yeah, that game is really interesting. But unfortunately, there was very little info to go on. Actually, when I started trying to put that team together, because it was requested, weirdly enough, there's a bit of difficulty because the only guide that I could find was in German. I'll wait for this noise to... There we go, let's speed that up real quick. But yeah, the only guide I could find for it, and the only wiki, was in friggin' German of all things, that actually mentioned the skills anyway. Aside from that, there was an old Let's Play that somebody was doing that I started looking at and actually enjoyed watching, but trying to figure out all the different characters and all their skills using what is effectively like a 200-hour long run, less than ideal. So ultimately I ended up scrapping that one, but I was absolutely on board for having it on there. Oh well. Oh well. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. I don't know what the next time would be, but maybe next time. Alright, so it looks like they're using up all their one-shot abilities on all the throwaway characters. That's what they're there for. Just to kind of give Mr. Mace a chance. Throughout the story, there's other characters constantly trying to protect him as best they can, despite the fact that he's redonkulously strong. Like, basically, by the end of the game, you can actually have more health than the last boss. It's, you eventually do max out your level and all that, but, it's like, you can have, I think, like, 1,200 more than the last boss has. Although it still maxes out at, like, 9,999. But, yeah, very, very good music. Fun art style as well. Oh, so that's what I was getting at earlier. So I was planning for the background music of at least one of these runs here. I was going to have that Club Avalon music, as I was calling it. Namely, it's this playlist I made of all of the remixes and stuff like that that the guy from Avalon had put together. And it's yeah, it's pretty darn nice. He's been apparently experimenting with some kind of sound chip or something like that, so he's just been remaking a bunch of old themes and whatnot. Alright, there we go. Mace is almost in the fight. He actually might be completely screwed, because he doesn't know how to get up there. Oh. Well, that would be a way to go. Huh. Does he have 3 jump? Do you have 3 jump? No, you have 2 jump. Alright, well, he can make it there, okay. There's still a chance, there's still a chance. As they're all very heavily going after this chicken. They really want to have them some lunch. Alright. Mr. Smo coming in and doing his butt stomp is what I consider that move to be. And I think once we get down to the actual fight, I might just start fast-forwarding it a little bit. It's literally just going to be them getting into position for ages. Right. Interesting note on Avalon, by the way. They have a snake. For some reason, the snake's not poisonous. It's the random villager you end up fighting later that's poisonous. It's actually kind of an interesting thing, because they have this very distinctive sound whenever you get a game over in that game, that like the entire screen just goes grayscale. And it's like it's like kind of sound. It's funny because they do exactly that, and then it suddenly shifts to white, and then you wake up in this that Cadman guy that's up there with a bandana. You just wake up in his house. It's like, yeah, I was just totally hiding behind a wall and saved you, so you're freaking welcome. Also, why don't you go climb a mountain to go get a plant? And then after you fight a boss to go get that plant, like, it's funny because they have a boss that has 5 health, but has basically infinite armor. So if you didn't think to bring any items that reduce armor, you're basically screwed. But, you know, still, I guess it's an interesting one. I think they actually gave you some defense penetrators on that mountain, but I don't remember. It's been a while. That's why I wanted to stream it again. I think the last time I did anything with it was a couple of years ago, where I did some videos of a run of it. It's a real decent game. But, I like it. Alright, come on, Cadman. You can do it. We sorta kinda believe in you a little bit. Slightly. Just slightly. Alright, it's fast forward time. Before this ends up taking 30 billion years. Okay, got the charm off on the dragon. Surprisingly, Cadman's doing a pretty okay job here. Didn't last long. Okay, if you're all just gonna go 1v1 Mace, that's not gonna go great for you. Alrighty. And then there was one. Yeah, he's got a chance. He's got an okay chance. Like, nice thing I like about OV is when it comes down to situations like this, there's never a point where you have one character that can become so overpowered, even with the best items in the game, best skills, everything else. They can never get to the point where they can become more powerful than, like, say, 6 people piling on them. So, this is some of the highest potential damage that you can get, or at least some of the highest single-hit like survivability plus damage that you can get. That's why he's running around shield bashing everything, because it gives him slightly better odds, I think. He's immune to all debuffs, because again, Avalon doesn't have debuffs. Yeah, really resistant to damage. And unless he uses Bloodbath on this following round, it looks like he's probably screwed. Yes, goodbye, Crazy New York. Oof. Yeah, he's getting curb stomped. Unless he uses Bloodbath. Yeah, definitely gotta resolve Mending Leaf Hell. This entire tournament probably would have been far, far, far slower if it wasn't for, or far, far, far faster if it wasn't for Mending Leaf Hell. Alright, so that's Avalon out. So, who next? Any requests? Kind of leaning towards Breath of Fire 3 versus Phantasy Star 4. I forget if we had that match before. I think we did. Maybe Chrono versus Fantasy 4, or Breath of Fire versus Chrono. No, because we just did Chrono. Why don't we... Why don't we do Historia versus Lord of the Rings? Pretty sure Lord of the Rings is screwed here, but... Let's see, Breath of Fire versus Phantasy Star? Okie doke. Then we'll do that one instead. Oh, and by the way, actually, yeah, this is a good rematch then. Explain why in a second. Where did I miss them? Here we go, and accidentally hit the wrong button. Okay, then. Where are you, Phantasy Star 4? I just saw you. Okay. So yeah, Phantasy Star has a distinct numerical advantage. If I could stop skipping through them, that'd be fantastic. There we go. See, chat lags because I'm on my phone at work, so... okay. Oh, he's behind? It's all good. Not judging. It's all dang good. But yeah, so they should actually do a lot better, because last time, they kind of got curb stomped because Nina is their main healer. Thing is, though, for whatever bizarre oversight reason, I managed to somehow forget giving her Divine. So now she has it, so now she can actually keep the team all healed up. So there's a lot more variety of abilities on the Phantasy Star team. I would say a lot more directly effective ones over on the Breath of Fire team. But we'll see how this goes. Maybe fast forward a little bit until they get into close range. I'm just going to fast forward until somebody does something. Something that isn't Gift of Renewal. Alright, come on. In this case, I don't think he actually has a regen ability in game, but I'd gone and given him that because he had some different area healing ability, while also combining with some other stuff. There's a good bit of that, like where they were given a single healing ability just to kind of replace something else, or like a regen ability to replace a healing ability. It's kind of one of those, you know, if it's close enough, it's close enough type things. My money's definitely on Phantasy Star here. Like, actually, come think of it, I think if I were to pick a winner, right now, between what's left, it would have to be either Phantasy Star 4, Game of Thrones, or Pokemon. Just based off how well they've done in the past. Although, FF Retro over there, they've got a good chance. They've got a real good chance. Whatever, it's too early to call. And I'm kind of fast-forwarding it a few bits here, because we've got about an hour and a half left, and a lot of fights to go through, so... well, that kind of thing. Let's skip through that real quick if you're gonna use that longest crap animation. Come on, everybody get in close range, what are you doing? Alright, getting his shots off. Getting his fireballs off. Let's see, Pokermans versus Game of... let's see, and Game of Thrones are the favorites from our perspective. I think GOT for the win. Alright. I suppose we'll see how that works out then. So I guess we should do FF8 versus maybe Historia after this. Alright. Yeah, they're starting getting close now. Yeah, another one that I was kind of surprised to see wasn't requested for this tournament was Golden Sun. Though it would ultimately have wound up being a team of 8 Warlocks for the most part. It still would have been potentially interesting to see. Like, I've considered doing a all Golden Sun team run at some point. Although I guess the AI arena is a bit more fitting for that, because it's one of those things where the gimmick would get old after about a couple fights. Love how we have 3 of the exact same sprite running around. I need to get more water. I'll be right back. Alrighty, and back again. As soon as I can find this thing. There we go. Found the button. Now I'm a face that exists again. And every time I move, the desk shakes, and this thing shakes, because it's all kind of wobbly-ish. And I still think Nina's going to be the one that makes the difference here with all those singing moves. Just because, yeah, Poignant Melody is probably one of the strongest abilities in the game right now. Like, just in general, the sheer turnaround from where they were in Vanilla to where Angel Knights are now is a complete 180. Like, seriously, before they were just like, hey, it's basically a knight, but they can fly. Yay! It's like, or you could go get that ring that lets them fly, and you probably could have done that way sooner without going through about 50 steps. Ooh, Supernova. Alright. Oh man, who's that even targeting, though? Does that just hit everybody? I don't know, actually I think that was a perfect lineup against, Nina just got shot in the friggin' face. Yeah, no, Phantasy Star's winning it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're taking it right now. They just lost 2 of their far less dudes. Angel Knights drank their red. Oh, the Red Bull? Yeah. Man, like, seriously though, before they were literally just like a knight with wings, and now, now they basically have some of the most devastating moves in the game, because they just like run up, like, well, we'll just be having all that MP, and you'll be having all that damage for an equal amount, and your TP's gone. And we can just instantly exercise like 4 zombies at once. Like, man, that's pretty awesome. That's actually worth the effort. How about that? Let's see, why is there... Wait, what? Why is there orc in the waterfall? What? Hey, doggos, can we back up a little bit? Can we not have our little cuddle pile over here on my foot? Man, these dogs are hilarious. Yeah, what is that? Why is there orc and the waterfall? What do you mean by that? Oh, they're orc. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I don't know why he's hanging out in the fountain. He just decided to hang out back there, I guess. Alright. Puppies, come on. What are we doing? Yeah, so 2 labs in one place doing the thing that labs love to do here. Namely, out of nowhere, they'll just suddenly start a mosh pit. See, wow, English phrase, one of the characters is stuck in the waterfall. Yeah. I don't know. That happened with Dart when they were on this map, when I had Legend of Dragoon on here last time. They just kind of decided to hang out there. It's one of those weird things that it's kind of bizarre that they had it back there, because if a character goes in, they usually can't get back out. So he basically has no way to get out of there. Hey, settle down! And I will be right back. Because these puppies are... Yeah, I'll be right back. Alright, mosh pit situation sorted. Mosh pits, rather. But yeah, 2 labs right next to each other, like I was saying. Have this interesting thing where they'll just, like, as long as they're a foot away, you know, a foot or so away from each other, no real worries. As soon as they get next to each other, they're like, oh man, there's another one here, and then they just start, like, doggy making out, and then wrestling, and then, like, before you know it, they're just tumbling all over furniture and stuff. It's a bit intense, because you basically have 2 full-size dogs just, like, suddenly deciding that the entire world is their plaything. And, yeah, they just roll around like a dang bowling ball of death. They just go around breaking stuff. It sucks. It sucks when that happens. It's kind of annoying because it's pretty random too. Well, that's such is life. But yeah, got a guest doggo while some relatives are on vacation. The guest doggos. Alright, let's look at the score here. So, yeah, Breathfire's lost half their team. Phantasy Star is at 100%. Or like 98%, so whatever. They're, I think it's safe to go ahead and call this one. I'm gonna see if they manage to pull anything out here, but odds are they're done. So who do we want to see next, then? Ideally, somebody that hasn't fought yet. So I was thinking probably FF8 versus Vandal Hearts. Alright, you keep trying over there, Mr. Tipo. You keep trying. Oh wait, there we go. Now they're back up to 100%, because they got yet another heal. But yeah, and these guys are like right on the edge as far as balancing goes for this. Because they've got 10 people, so they've usually got enough to be able to win that initial engagement. But at the same time, well, actually right now it's funny because they're down a guy. Still doesn't matter. But at the same time, they've got 3 heal. Actually, I believe 4 healers on their team of different descriptions. Hi there, Earth Sunder. How's it been? How you been doing? And yes, indeed. Except today it's more like water, because flus are amazing. And I'm pretty sure if I drank some coffee, I'd be over there with a bowl for the rest of the day again. So maybe not today, but yes. So Mr. Earth Sunder, what would you like to see? Anything in yellow is fair game for another fight. Let's see, Kim, finally can see that. You know, some folks had mentioned it a few times, figured I might as well. And then Mr. Vale came along, he's like, you're gonna wear a suit for every single one. So I'm like, okay, I've got some suits, so I can make that happen. so yeah. So we're doing the whole camera thing finally, I suppose. Since apparently that has caused numbers to go up. Which is good, because then more people request weird things, and then more interesting stuff happens. So yeah, right now we're seeing Breathfire 3 get thoroughly curb-stomped by, Phantasy Star 4. FF4 versus FF7. Wait, what? FF7 isn't in this one. I think I actually have an FF7 team laying around from last time, but I don't know how they'd hold up. Because it's been a few patches since that. Let's see, FF4 versus FF8. Alright, we can do that rematch. It's a rematch because it was requested a while ago. I shouldn't mention, by the way, FF4 is more like just FF Retro, because apparently I got confused while staring at the wiki. So it's got a few characters from a few different games. So, whoops. But yeah, no, FF4-ish slash FF Retro is kind of one of the stronger contenders so far. See, FF4 versus Chrono Trigger, final answer? Yes, sir. You got it. Make that happen. Alright, we can probably just fast forward to the end of this here, because it's literally just the last couple dudes getting beat over the head over and over. So, something you may notice from the AI is occasionally they get really confused. Like, really, really confused. Like, they'll just sit there using Mend Leaves over and over for like 6 turns in a row while they have an absolute opportunity to win it. Oh man, I love that Crusade Room. I love that thing so much. It's like, when there was the opportunity to either, use the Ogre Blade to actually look closer to the laser swords of Phantasy Star, or to give him the Crusade Grim, I had to go Crusade Grim. That thing's just too cool. Just because it's basically like a double attack spear that's also a sword. It's awesome. Alright. Yeah, their last couple dudes are trying, but... Ooh. The Death Prick, apparently. And he just got vaporized. Goodbye. He's got Thanos. And you speed it up, because, like I said, it's just the last couple dudes now. There's not really much fight left anymore. And it's mostly these heals that are taking forever. Alright, hits him with a rock. Goes for a stun, because the AI is amazing. There we go. Hanging Tharis? Which one's Tharis? I don't know what's going on. Whatever. Anyways, he's getting laser beams. What's down here? Wait, what? Oh, oh no. It's Thanos. I can't believe that was so much of a meme. Alright. Dang it, so what was it? FF4 versus Chrono? Alright, let's do this thing. So, I'll go over these real quick since I don't think you saw them last time. Just kind of show you what teams we're working with here. Arcadia of Rhyme. Alright. So just like a quick once-over of what everybody's up to here. Let's get Chrono in here. I can almost guarantee you that this is going to FF Retro. Like, scores aside. Like, the Chrono Cross team, or Chrono Trigger team, by the way, it says Cross, ignore that. It's just... Originally, there was supposed to be a Chrono Cross team, and then it turns out that, yeah, it was another one that I didn't know the abilities, didn't know the characters, and it was already about 3 weeks overdue, so I was like, we're gonna cut a few. We're gonna cut a few. But, yeah. So, alright, right now, terrain is definitely in favor of the Chrono team. See, Chrono Cross is a bad Chrono game, but a great game. Yeah. It's weird. I don't know whether it's true or not. I think it was Evan that was talking about this last time. That apparently the Chrono Trigger team was just really overworked and apparently hated the game. So when it came time to make a sequel, that might have been why they were completely on board for just basically, well, killing off almost all the original cast and then undoing everything they did. Let's see. Chrono Cross was an FU to Chrono Trigger? Exactly that. Because, yeah, the funny part is, I wanted to play Chrono Trigger back in the day, or Chrono Cross, rather, back in the day. And I'd never played Chrono Trigger after that point. I was always playing stuff on the Genesis and all that. And the first proper, like, full-bore console RPG that I'd played was Legend of Dragoon. So when I was looking for other games similar to it, I was just looking up RPGs, and they're like, hey, how about you try this Chrono Cross thing? It's pretty cool. So I tried to get a hold of it, but they never sold it anywhere, so, you know, that didn't exactly happen very much. And so anyway, I ended up trying and playing through Chrono Trigger at some point. And, you know, liked it. Seemed to have awesome music and all that. And then finally I go, and for this tournament I was reading through Chrono Cross, because I kept hearing, like, oh, you know, they completely hated them, though. They're like, yeah, so they killed off the entire cast and undid everything, and then you can find the remains of all these other characters all over the place. It's like, wow, they really hated it, huh? Let's see. Chrono Trigger was so good, though. Let's see, it was Development Nightmare. Composer ended up in the hospital with ulcers, yeah. But that's just, I mean, to be fair, overworking yourself to the point of more or less death is kind of considered a good thing over there. You trying to think what the first RPG I played was? I mean, technically speaking, the first RPG, like, it depends on what you define as an RPG. Because, like, if we're talking about just turn-based smashing stats against each other, that would have probably been Avalon for me. Because the very first games that I'd gotten were, like, I had gotten the Genesis. Actually, no, let's see. The first console I actually owned, or co-owned with my brother, was the Genesis, and we basically just had, like, Sonic and Shinobi and all that on there for a while. And then he rebuilt a PC from just, like, random junk parts. He's like, here you go, you need a computer, you got a computer. And then he gave me this disc with a bunch of old DOS games, and Avalon was the first ones on there. And I tried it, and I friggin' loved it. And, like, I still listen to the music to this day. And so yeah, sure enough, you know, that was, that felt pretty solid. And then there was a Battletech on there as well. The Crescent Hawk's Inception, all that kind of thing. Let's see, probably East 3 or Lagoon. You know, I don't think I've ever played or heard of Lagoon, actually. See, Tactics Ogre was the first console RPG I played, then FF7. Actually, I come to think of that. Yeah, no, the Genesis was definitely before the GBA. I was gonna say, technically speaking, I wonder if Night of Lodis... But no. Is Battletoads an RPG? Well, I mean, you got a bunch of different classes to choose from, of different kind of facial disfigurements, and, I mean, you punch things, and then you get numbers. So sure, why not? It's got numbers, it's got stats. And then you upgrade yourself by getting a stick and beating stuff through the ground. Close enough. Actually, hang on, did original Battletoads have the beating through the ground thing, or was that, Double Dragon? Because I never played the original Battletoads or the original Double Dragon, but Battletoads Double Dragon was like that and Golden Axe were just stuff that my brother played pretty much every friggin' day. It was just the best. And what's funny is that we have this SNES Classic, and I modded it, and just put all the Golden Axe and all that on there. And so we were playing some Battletoads Double Dragon and all that. And I was disappointed. My my cousin that's just super into any kind of game you put in front of him. It's like, man, how have you never played Battletoads? So we, boot it up, get through the first couple levels or whatever, then get to that part where you basically die by being beaten to death by strippers, and and I'm not even making that up. And yeah, turns out a bit more difficult than we remembered. But I was kind of surprised that he didn't like it. It's like, man, this is a classic. How do you not like this? It's like, I think it was BT versus DD. Wait, what? What was BT versus DD? Sorry, it's just the text is really tiny. So you said you never played Lagoon. Good. Don't. That's a bad RPG. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Man, it's kind of amazing that up to this point we still haven't gotten a remake of Legend of the Dragoon. Like, that game was just so good. See, Battletoads. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, I didn't know if original Battletoads had that. It was like this whole thing where you'd punch out these robots and they would drop their leg as like a staff, and then they would do this one move every now and then where they would just sweep their legs and just beat them repeatedly over the head with a stick as they just slowly got crushed through the floor. It was so unnecessarily brutal, but I loved it. But yeah. Alright, so far both teams are doing well. Looks like Chrono's about half beat. Looks like FF4 is barely even touched. Okay, so it's just a matter of time then. So this is almost definitely going to Final Fantasy Retro. No, just Lagoon. Come to think of it, have you guys ever played Gain Ground? I think, I don't remember if it was a Genesis exclusive, but, it was an interesting game. It's not exactly an RPG, but... It's just an interesting one. Just kind of curious if you guys have played it. It's kind of like if you played a strategy game in real time, but you only had access to one character. So it's like this whole thing where you have map after map after map that you're supposed to clear, but if you lose a character, that character falls down on the ground, and then your next one in the roster comes up. And then, you can have that character go pick them up, or you can pick up one of the other characters on the map. Usually there's extras that you can rescue and stuff like that. And then you can just keep redoing the map with every one of your characters over and over. Excuse me. Leave it. Leave it. Oh boy. Extra vigilant, what can I say? Okay, everything's all quieted down now. Yeah, sorry about doggos. Specifically, Guest Doggo. A very, very vigilant boy. Let's see. Not played much of anything on Sega. Fair enough. So if you like Metroidvania, you might like La Milana 1 and 2, but they're pretty hard. Yeah, I've got La Milana, the HD remake or whatever the hell it's called, on the Vita. Yeah, that's it's weird because early on the puzzles are, you know, it's like they're the right mix of like just it feels good when you figure it out and a reasonable amount of logic behind them and all that. But then as you go on and on and on, you know, eventually once you look at a guide and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, there's stuff I never would have figured out here. They're like, oh yeah, if you you gotta cross from one end of the world to the other or something like that is one of the hints. And apparently, the way you're supposed to take from that is, hey, if I go and randomly jump into this vertical tile of this one map way over here, get a bunch of obstacles kind of out of the way somewhere completely else, then I can cross from one end of the map way over to the other on this random tile with no markings or indication that it does anything whatsoever, which is cool, but they could have done with more hints, I feel. Like, it's definitely an amazingly fun game, though, and that music is amazing! Was it? I think it was, Relentless Challenger or something like that. It's like the first hub theme and then like the first area theme are just some of the best music I've heard in a game. I think it's Relentless Challenger or Unrelenting Challenger, something like that. But yeah, I am considering, since we're starting to run a little bit low on time here, I was gonna see about running the rest of it in fast forward and just playing some music in the background. What do you guys think? Because I do want to get this finished up today. There we go. There's Chrono out, unfortunately. They got punched out real good. Alright, so that leaves FF8 versus Vandal Hearts, I suppose, or FF8 versus Historia. Alright, so FF8. Choose your party. And Radiant Historia, there we go. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and... well, let's get some music on in the background first. Might be a little bit laggy for a sec. For that, I apologize. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna put the Avalon soundtrack. Screw it. Because A, I want to show that off more, because there's never enough Avalon soundtrack in your day, and B... ooh, wow, that's laggy. I didn't even say to turn on Chrome. Why did you turn on Chrome, you horrible thing? How about now? Okay, so pardon the, you know, that. We'll be back on track here in a moment. Just stutters a little bit because it doesn't know what to do. By the way, let me know if the stream decides to break as soon as I speed it up. Such things do happen, of course. Yeah, I think my, let's see, when I was going through La Milana for the first time, trying my absolute hardest not to use a guide, let's see, I think I got to the first 4 areas or so, and then there was specifically a boss that was like a rail cart kind of boss type situation. And then I'm looking through the guides later, and then I'm finding out that's where you were supposed to save the gun for. So basically, if you haven't played it before, you get like 10 shots as soon as you first get the gun, and then you get 1 reload for it. And I think you maybe get more later. But yeah, no, they basically just said nope. Like, yeah, no, you kind of need it for this one, unless you've gotten all these other upgraded weapons or something like that. It's like, well, I have a whip. That's apparently not going to do the job. Yeah, that amazing efficiency right there. Healing 13 health off of a heal that does about 70. Definitely worth it there, AI. Definitely worth it. Speed you up just a little bit. In fact, let's make sure that the text is automated over here. There we go. Return to fight. So now it should just automatically automate everything. As you do, and this music in the background is still loading, so apologize for the kind of chippiness. Unfortunately, it's just decided that it's stuck at 90%, so I'm not even sure if we're going to be able to do that. Whew. That lag is amazing. Yeah, both these teams are kind of uniquely resourceful in their own ways, so I'm not really leaning towards one side or the other here. I would like to see the FF8 team make it, just because I kind of like the overall composition of the team. But skill-wise, it's hard to call. There we go. Let's turn off the sound real quick. Actually, no, wait, the other music isn't up yet. I can't turn off the sound because the thing isn't up yet. It lags so dang much right now. Ah, why are you doing that? And why on earth are you stuck at 95%? What is that even? I swear, it's like my computer's unable to load random things for no apparent reason. It's definitely on its last legs, I know that much. We got 10 here, meaning we need at least 5 fights. Again, let's see, we have 5 fights, then we have 7 fights. So we have 8 fights to go here. And about 50 minutes to do it. We'll see. Like, this one in particular seems to really love its special effects. And yeah, I'm thinking probably in the future, whenever doing these, I might just limit it to 15 or so teams. Just because of how long it's taken. It shouldn't really take 5 parts to get through a small tournament like this. But yeah, the AI spends so much time putzing around, it's not even funny. I swear. It's like they will just spin turn after turn with those dang men leaves. Alright, good job stepping on your own trap. I think that was their own trap. And I'm thinking the only ones that haven't actually fought in this round then are Lord of the Rings and Wild Arms, so we'll have them take the next one after this. Seems about fair. And then we'll just continue boiling down from there. And by the way, apologies to anyone that doesn't like the fast forwarding thing. It's a necessary evil sometimes. Roche coming in to take out Zell here. Oh, and by the way, so in the future, whenever doing these AI fights in the future, because of the fact that the beta version does not lag, like it doesn't have any issues, it's just basically different type of effects cause different things in different systems. So I can stream the Vita and just have some music running in the background, then we can just kind of discuss whatever, and then we don't have all the same sound effects. It wouldn't allow for in-game music as of yet. There's basically a little bit of a hardware tomfoolery I gotta figure out for that, because right now the only way that I can do it involves it, well, having a whole lot of weird staticiness and kind of like a faraway sound, so it sounds like garbage. So, ideally, if I can get that figured out, we'll be doing that for future AI tournaments. Just because, yeah, when streaming that thing, it's a lot more stable. So it doesn't have any lag, doesn't have any weird input situations, it just goes, it just works. It's perfectly suited for that type of system. Which is kind of funny, because then, by the same token, anything that's ported over to the Vita seems to absolutely suck compared to the other versions. I guess with some exceptions, like, for example, when Salt and Sanctuary got ported to it, like, despite the fact that it was originally created for it, and then they just wound up getting it everywhere but the Vita at first. Like, that one is pretty great, aside from the whole Vita sticks being busted thing. Like, if you didn't know, one of the weird things about the Vita is that the analog sticks become weirdly oversensitive and start getting ghost inputs after a while. so you gotta like replace those things every now and then. Like I think I have maybe 3 replacement sticks lying around. Recently, I found a way more effective thing as far as fixing that, which is getting this analog enhancer thing, that just changing the dead zone to those things to like 99%, which seems to fix the problem, but it's just kind of annoying that they even released it with that kind of issue. I'm not sure if the originals have that issue, but the newest ones, the thin ones, definitely do. Either way, apparently there's just something about the design that causes random oils and things to just love getting caught in there. So if you take them out and clean them, it'll help out sometimes. Other times it just won't do anything. But such is life. Such is life. You can't build everything perfect, I guess. Alright, how's this looking? Pretty even so far. Unfortunately, unlike the SNES game, or like Night of Lodis, they don't actually directly say, like, you know, this team won. They either say, they only say congratulations or game over. So, let's see, who's what team? I think FF8 is red. Right. Alright, so FF8 is red. So, game over is FF8. Congratulations is Radiant Historia. This could go either way right now. It's just turning into a complete and utter mob. Yeah, it's. I think it's leaning towards Historia, but it's hard to tell. Definitely hard to tell. There we go. What do you guys think? Who's winning it out of this weird mosh pit? Because I can't really say I can figure out either of them, really. Oh, by the way, Earthsunder. So, quick thing, I had an idea for, it's probably going to be like maybe 4 or so runs down the line of different stuff. But I wanted to do an OB64 run of just using dog units. It's called Doggo Force. Wonder how possible it would be. We'll see. We'll see. I might, you know what, then again, I might just do the rebalance mod. I don't know. I wanted to do some OB64 stuff. Feels like, there needs to be more of that out there. We'll see. Because that game's fun, it's just hard to describe. Like, everything about it is just hard to describe. It's like, how would you describe it? It's like, well, it's a strategy game, except you're basically running with squads instead of individual units, but not full-size squads, but they're smaller ones. But then you also individually customize all of them, but then they also go in larger formations, but then you also take towns, but then you also, like, do individual politics, but then sometimes don't like you. There's... How do you describe it? You don't, is how you describe it. I think that's probably why they haven't made more of them. That every time that they try to make another Ogre battle game, they're like, well, we can't exactly make a blurb about it. We don't know what to call it. We don't know what to say it does. Because it's funny, when they made March of the Black Queen, they basically just had a little tagline of, like, the ultimate fantasy RPG thing. Which, okay, fair enough. You know, you basically got every fantasy thing you could ever want in there. It's technically an RPG, and it's technically doing something unique, so yeah, it is the ultimate of its thing. Why not? Yeah, definitely looking like it's going towards Historia here, I think. It's hard to say for sure. Or not. Actually, no, it's looking like it's going FF8 right now. No, wait, that guy's there. Oh, wait. No, then it's definitely going FF8. Never mind. I was looking at that one over there that's sleeping on the ground. I think that one's Zell or something. And it turns out, yeah. It's about a 4-1, or a 5-1 right now. I think it's a Historia lost. Lost this round. Oh, and they're stopped. Yeah, no, they're totally screwed. They're totally boned. Alright. So that leaves Wild Arms and Lord of the Rings then. Speed it up till it's over. See a strong start at the beginning of the tourney? Yeah. They did real well early on. But no. Their tournament has ended. Okay. But that's why this is why I love doing AI tournaments though. You get so many weird things that happen. But yeah, you guys weren't here for the Formula Front tournament, were you? Like the 200 AC tournament? It wound up being like 230-ish, but whatever. However many we had in there. Because that was basically, if you've never heard of Formula Front, it's this it's one of the Armored Core games, except they made one that's just entirely like you build a team, you give them AI control, you customize their AI, you customize their loadouts, and you just basically have these mechs battle it out in what was originally supposed to be like a 5v5 format, where every part in the series up to that point is available. However, only one can be used for each one. Meaning that, for example, if you gave somebody the napalm rockets, which were consistently pretty OP, the other ones couldn't use it. So it was one of these cases of like, who do you use your really OP parts on, and you know, who do you use other stuff on, etc. So, the funny part was, that's the way it was supposed to work. And then apparently, when they were making the North American version, like, nah, let's make it a 1v1 tournament kind of thing. And so basically, there was no reason to ever not do like, just, you know, the OP parts all the time. So, for example, the biggest problems were usually stuff like double bazookas, which pretty much the AI fires the moment that they're able to get a lock on. So they usually start off pretty close to each other, and just both of them will just start wailing on each other right away. So whoever had the higher armor, the higher heat output, the higher damage output, whatever, they were usually the one that won. And in particular, the bazooka and napalm rockets can combine in such a way that whoever hit with that first caused the other guy to be completely unable to move, to just get stun locked, as well as have their entire generator drained out. Which, the generator thing, if you think about it as Dark Souls, because a lot of the same mechanics actually apply to those two games, it's like, the napalm rockets would be like if your stamina just started recharging in reverse all of a sudden. Where suddenly you just, like, you couldn't move, you couldn't do very much. And that one, a lot of your movement was based off of flight and hovering and well-timed hops and things. And so just suddenly you couldn't do any of that. And then if it ended up bottoming out, you ended up taking about twice as long to recharge the thing. So, yeah, it just basically completely screwed somebody. Now, between these two teams, I'm saying definitely going for Lord of the Rings, but I guess we'll see. Because Legolas just got screwed, so maybe not so much. Whatever, we'll see. Anyhow. So yeah, there was this tournament that I did where every time that I tried to have a player submit a tournament, everyone would like submit their personal build with their personal emblems, and they wanted their emblems recreated and things like that. Okay, fair enough. So, you know, I tried to do the best I could and all that. But then we had a bit of a different thing, where I decided I would go through and I would pick every notable character from the entire series and remake them and just put them in a giant battle royale. Just like completely random fights, and just see how it goes. And so yeah, I think I ultimately ended up streaming like half of it, because half of it was already done as videos by the time I started trying to do the whole streaming thing. And yeah, it was interesting, because we had one guy. I actually have a playlist that's saved over on the YouTube end, which I probably should save as a command on this. It's called Adieu's Epic Journey. Because there's this guy, the very first arena opponent in Armored Core 3. And this guy is, like, he's the worst. Like, he is just utter garbage incarnate, and that's the point. His description even says, like, yeah, this guy never wins a fight, but he has a following because people are still amazed that he's willing to try. Like, he's basically the Little Mac of that universe for the most part. But he not only takes the starter build that everybody starts with, he manages to make it worse, because like you start off with your crappy rifle, your crappy blade, your crappy missile launcher, and then just like a frame that's somewhat durable against shell stuff, and then just has no energy defense whatsoever. Horrible energy regeneration, horrible movement. So what he does, basically sells the missile launcher, which is like the one effective weapon on that AC. And, because I should point out, the blade is so short that most things, like, can't even reach their hitbox properly, like, especially when it comes to bosses and things. So he sells that thing, and he basically gets some legs that boost the one type of defense it already has. So he's basically heavier, slower, and slightly better at resisting something he could already resist pretty well. And yeah. Surprisingly, this guy managed to suck so bad. Like, he actually managed to make it, like, up to the, I think, like, semi-finals. Like, it was almost up to the very end, and he actually, the one that ended up winning the tournament, he actually fought her to a tie. So, like, it's ridiculous. This thing managed to suck so bad that nobody could hit it because it was so slow. Because the AI was apparently not programmed to hit something that slow. So it would constantly miss, it wouldn't know what, like, where to aim, like, in many cases, actually in one of the cases, it was one of the more competent ACs in the entire tournament, and a glitch happened and his gun stopped working. Who knows? I've seen the glitch happen like once in maybe a few thousand fights, and sure enough, it happened for him. Or, for example, when he fought that one lady to the champion to a standstill, it's because she missed almost every single shot. He's just like, he would just wander around all dumb as hell, and just every shot hits some random piece of terrain. The best part of that fight, though, is once she's out of shots and everything, the two of them land right next to each other on top of one of the rafters, and again, in a move that the AI never does, they both stop. They take a second, and they stare at each other. And they just stare, and then suddenly he just, like, whips out his blade, he's like, just takes a swipe at her as she flies out of the way. Man, Formula Friend is so fun to watch. Like, it's hard to explain and weird to stream, but it's just fun to watch. Yeah, okay, I think it's safe to say that Wild Arms actually won this pretty handily. Well, it's good for them to finally get a win. Alright, that's another one gone. Another one bites dust. Hey, another one bites dust. Thinking Souls vs. Pokemans? Something like that? Sure, I should find that video and post it. Like, man, he had quite the run. And then, unfortunately, he got taken out on pretty much the very last stream. I was really rooting for that guy to make it. Let me see if I can get the link for you. Starting to feel quite unfortunate at the moment. Alright, let's go ahead and speed this up. Poor little pumpkin man's, little pumpkin hobbit. Like Frodo over there doing his best. Love how the one character they lost was the one best one. Alright, where are my dang playlists? Here, Adew's Legendary Journey. Or Legendary Saga. Let's see, how'd he do? So, yeah, in his first round, he was against a rocket build that really sucked, so okay, whatever, fair enough. Then he was against Samika, so that's one of the characters that's, like, one of the mascots of the series for the second game to come out. And she's all fast and pew-pewy and everything, but he just, like, completely slaps her down to a pretty bizarre degree. Then there's Yellowboat, who's, he basically got the edge on him for firepower and for everything. She's actually got one of the more completely OP weapons in that game. Doesn't matter, he just avoids all the shots and still wins it despite having one of the worst builds possible. Then versus Mobius, he's actually one of the champions in the game. Then versus Xenonauts, which is, again, she's another one of the champions that she just misses every single shot against him. Then against G. Faust, he's pretty standard, but still, he's basically his better in every single way. Doesn't care, wins anyway. Then versus Evangel, whose gun stops working, and then finally there was the very last stream. But yeah, let's go get this playlist over. we go. It's locked in here. Let's. All right, what do you guys want to see next? Because I'm leaning towards. Whatever. Let me know what you want to see. Let's get this link in here. Alright, come on. Any day now. There we go. Alright, let's say Souls vs. FFA. Why not? Oh no. Vandal Hearts vs. FF4. We'll do that one next. Because I already got this one set up. But yeah, so in that link, probably the craziest one is Adieu vs. Xenonauts. Like, that mess was ridiculous. Should never have happened. Like, I'm rewatching it over on the other one here. And so, again, to compare the two, right? You've got the Adieu, whatever the hell his was called, the Sky Dancer, which if you're wondering why one of the planes was called Sky Dancer in the X Division run, that's why. It's named after his sucky AC, and then Xenonauts there with the Proto Exus. So her strongest stuff generally is just she's basically got a bunch of rapid fire stuff, like a bunch of rapid fire lasers and machine guns and all that kind of thing. And so basically, he can resist most of the machine gun stuff. Like, he's generally pretty resistant to that kind of stuff. The energy machine gun just rips him right the hell apart, because he's got, like, no defense against that whatsoever. On top of that, she can outspeed him. She's got better defenses in every category. She's got way more attacks going on at once, not to mention most of them build up heat, which he's got almost no resistance to whatsoever. And yeah, throughout this entire thing, he manages to hide in just, like, the perfect spots. I even went back and tried to recreate the situation just to see if it was consistent. And yeah, no, it was like a 1 in a million thing. Like, the dude just refused to get hit by anything. That was pretty great. And then yeah, he nails almost every one of his shots as well. Which is funny, because yeah, despite the fact that he shoots her about 200 times, I think it's like 200 times, what is it here? I forget, it's either 120 or 200 that the basic shell has in that one. But yeah, ultimately ends up trying to pretty much win it with a knife, which is more or less what that starter blade is. It's like the equivalent of a dang butter knife. I mean, occasionally, it's caused him a bunch of wins, that's for sure. Like, yeah, right here at the very end, she's got 20 missiles left to fire at him. He's got 1 hit left from basically anything to die, and he just dodges all of them. Doesn't even care. Let's see. So yeah, about 2 minutes in, she's completely out of all of her weapons, because she usually wins fights way before them. And or cripple somebody just enough. Trying to find that exact moment. He's over there, like, sparking and everything else, just waiting for a moment to blade. Because if he gets, like, 2 blade attacks in, he wins that one. It's like outright wins it, not even draws it. And usually they are surprisingly competent with blades in that one. Let's see. I think it's right... Let's see. 239, I think. Yeah, 239. Where they both just stop. Like, they stop on one of the beams and just have a little heart-to-heart for a second. And then he just, like, goes in for the cut. As it does no damage. So I think she had 2,600 left after that point, and it only did 500. So I think he gets a few more in, but yeah, ultimately ends up losing. Well, that one I counted as a draw. Like, I put it up to a community vote at the time. I'm like, yeah, no, that's totally a draw. They both get to carry on. Actually, no, wait, was that counted as a loss? That might have been counted as a loss. Yeah, no, I think I wanted to count it as a draw, and then... I don't remember exactly. Either way. It was an interesting tournament. Mr. Pugman, what you doing? Trying to dig through the trash over there? Yeah, we don't do that, do we? Thought so. Okay, let's speed this up a little bit. hard to call this one. I'm gonna say FFA for this one. Got 26 minutes left to wrap this up. And Gwendolyn with your crazy long animations. What's your deal? Alright, so far so it's still going back and forth. It's just going back and forth here. Although yeah, now okay, Souls is starting to take the lead here. Or no. Okay, with that dodge it's still a little bit even. They took out Irvine. Not necessarily one of their stronger hitters, but still a pretty important team. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say Souls has this one. I think they might have gotten a few lucky hits in, but... Oh, no, 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 there we go. We're about even on... We're getting even on body count, anyway. Just Souls has the numbers, so 8 can't lose as many, and they've already lost twice as many. Wish I could speed this up without the music going janky. It's one of the reasons why I've asked if there was a way to actually shut the music off, and potentially there might be a way to do that. Again, I love the music, but it's mostly just for the sake of fast-forwarding. So I could put something else on in the background while this was happening. Right, and they're still pulling it back little by little. So one time in the tournament, I'm wishing for curb stomps. Yeah, I'm happy with how Hawkeye Go turned out. Yeah, who wins? Hawkeye from the Avengers or Hawkeye from Dark Souls? So here's this giant that can shoot down dragons. Here's this guy that can shoot tiny arrows. I think blue's FF8, aren't they? No. FF8 is red. It seems like they're always red. By the way, as far as the audio is concerned, does it get all jacked up as soon as I start fast-forwarding it? Or is it just my meters that don't know how to react? See, red is more angsty. Fair enough. Gotta have that for the edgy team. But yeah, does the audio get all screwy as soon as I start fast forwarding? Like, does it start cutting out? Man. It's weird. It's weird. So, lately, you know, for, I think, like, the 4th year in a row now, we've been looking for a house, right? Let's see. Mostly your meters, I would guess? Okay. But yeah, so, for about the 4th year in a row, we've been trying to look for a house. The odds are pretty low, but whatever. You know, doesn't hurt to look. It's kind of depressing, because looking at everything, it's like, okay, you can get a mortgage, and with a mortgage, you know, we'd be paying about, I'd say about 2/3 as much as we do just paying rent right now. If not, you know, if not half, depending on what areas we're looking at. But the messed up part is, our market here just keeps going up. Like, no matter what we do, like, no matter how long we wait. Would have expected this thing to crash a couple of years ago, because it went from, like, normal prices to just ridiculously just over-expensive over and over and over. But yeah, so we just kept looking, and so finally just ultimately opted for, like, okay, we can, you know, maybe somebody wants to offer a land contract. So if you're unfamiliar with what that is, it's basically like where somebody has a house, you know, either they're looking for a specific type of buyer for that kind of thing, or, you know, it needs some work and they don't know what to do with it. But basically it's like you just agree to pay them over time for whatever it is. And man, we're at the point now where people get offended if you try to even ask about that. Like, no, it's just like, no, we gotta be getting over what we're asking for, and gotta have it all cash, and gotta have it hand delivered by puppies on closing day or something like that. Like, it's annoying when that happens. Because I was hoping to never run into this situation again. But sure enough, stuff just does not stop growing. And despite what every politician seems to say, no, that does not help anybody on the lower end whatsoever. It just means that it's way harder to get things, because usually the folks with way too much money come in and buy a bunch of stuff that they don't need in order to sell it for more later. As we basically had a bunch of people come in, buy a bunch of houses, tear them down all over the city, put up mobile homes, and then sell them for more than the original houses were worth. And so we just basically have a bunch of crappy mobile homes all over the dang place that are going for like 200 grand. It's ridiculous. I mean, in one case, I literally saw a 3-bed, 2-bath, just like friggin' double-wide mobile home. 324K. What the hell? It's a mobile home. That thing's gonna last less than a decade. What the hell kind of crap is that? And what's depressing is that banks are happily lending on those, but then the actual houses that'll last, they're like, no, I'm sorry, it's not new enough. It's like, yeah, but this old thing will last way longer than this new thing. What is this? Anyway. Alright. Yeah, I think Souls might actually take this one. Just remember, Michigan sucks. You make a fair point. To be fair, I've wanted, if I could just overnight move to anywhere, Rio Rancho, New Mexico. Dude, that place is, like, just friggin' paradise as far as I'm concerned. You know why? Because stuff's still pretty cheap over there. It's the home of Intel, which means you have the greatest internet connection you will have ever. Their internet, I kid you not, was like 37 times faster than what I have right now. If anything goes wrong with your connection, they will be out there same friggin' day, if not the same hour, to fix it. Like, at the time, when I was living down there, when I was still kind of following around my my crazy mother and all that when I was younger, like, had a 5-bedroom, 5-bed, 3-bath. Okay, so yeah, FFA just got wiped out. Had a 5-bed, 3-bath. That crap was like $120,000, I think, compared to $300,000 mobile homes over here. See, what's the weather like in New Mexico? It's amazing is what it is. Hang on, I'll get to more on that in just a sec. Let's do, I think, Vandal Hearts versus somebody. Oh wait, you wanted one. Which one did you ask? Vandal Hearts versus FF4? You got it. Vandal Hearts versus FF4. But yeah, basically it is a desert, so bear that in mind. But desert heat is so much better than tropical heat. Like, it's basically like you get in the shade and it's nice and cool. You get in the sun, it's mildly uncomfortable. It's a little bit dry. Granted, it's a desert. One can expect that. However, if you want to see some nature, you want to see some awesome stuff, you just go up to the mountains, because there's frickin' mountains everywhere, and they've got, like, lush forests, they've got sweet rock formations, they've got hiking trails all over the place. Like, I love that crap. I mean, you could go snowing during the winter, because it snowed up there, but it didn't down there. Like, it would snow very rarely down below the mountains. Like, it was amazing there. It's just, like, pretty much idyllic weather for the most part, or at least it was very easy to deal with. There was just nothing I could say bad about that place. It was... Well, okay, there is one thing that you never go to Monterey. Was it Monterey? No, Moriarty. You never go to Moriarty. Got broken down there once. It turns out the place is completely run by the mob, and yeah, you don't want to be there. But, point being, unless you're stuck in Moriarty, it's a very nice place. Like, funnily enough, I lived in Albuquerque for a while too. And despite the fact that their crime rate is pretty friggin' high, and despite the fact that I lived in a relatively drug-heavy neighborhood, it was still really enjoyable over there. Like, frickin' Spanish markets are amazing. Not to mention they had the best seasoned chicken I've ever had. People seem to have barbecues all the dang time, and there was always some amazingly tasty chili going around. Not to mention it was just really quiet. Like, even if you had neighbors or whatever else, there was usually a breeze rolling through, so everything always felt quiet. People were generally pretty chilled out over there. Occasionally you'd run into some folks from the reservation and all that had all kinds of crazy stories to tell. Like one guy that I met that absolutely insisted that pygmies were a thing. But yeah, you never know. You never know. I mean, again, I don't know if I shared this story before, but I can see where people think the UFOs are real over there. Which, by the way, I went to Roswell. Yeah, it turns out it's actually just a police training town now. Yeah, the UFO museum kind of sucks. But, what's it? I had a point somewhere there. It was very pointy. Point being, whatever. The weather there is awesome. Like, one of the coolest things I've ever... Wait a minute, what? Thought pygmies were a thing? No, they mean... It was... How do I even put it? Like, traveling bands of, like, raider pygmies. Basically sounded like, what the hell, the friggin' Ewoks or something like that from his description. So you think it's a diversionary tactic? Maybe. But still. Like, oh yeah, so I was talking about Albuquerque. Like, even though it supposedly had a pretty high crime rate and stuff looked pretty iffy in a lot of places, it still was an awesome place to live. And I honestly cannot say that about any other iffy town that I've ever lived in. Or been to, for that matter. Like, I mean, Detroit comes to mind. As much as I absolutely admire a lot of the buildings there, I love the kinds of comebacks they've been making, it's just a town that always gives, like, this gut feeling of, I shouldn't be here, anytime that you're going through the houses and stuff like that. Like, way back in the day, I used to go through properties and stuff like that. I used to try and evaluate if, you know, what they would sell for, what we could do with them, that kind of thing. And yeah, it was just like this constant feeling of just something will happen here. Like, I'm gonna fall through a floorboard and get impaled on something, or some rando druggy guy's gonna be hiding in a closet somewhere and attack. Like, I mean, I had a friggin' taser baton on my belt at all times. But yeah, it's just there was this constant feeling of dread there. And even when I went back there recently, like, just driving through, there's, like, the highways are kind of unkempt and that kind of thing. They're getting better. The city's definitely getting better. There's been some questionable choices. Like, I'm pretty sure the fact that they kind of increased the bar for what people have to do to actually get properties down there, that kind of stuff is definitely... I wouldn't say it's necessarily helping, because a lot of millionaires came in and just bought up a bunch of the stuff that was previously available for cheap. Arguably better on an economic level, but it just basically led to a bunch of empty houses with owners that don't really give a crap. So, like, for example, my previous business used to be to go in and, you know, get some of these cheap properties and essentially just find a rehabber to go build them. And so, you know, it made a living. Couldn't really complain about the results or any of that, and, you know, usually got a nice thank you at the end of the day, so that was pretty nice. But then, yeah, just basically overnight, they just switched a bunch of stuff, and suddenly it was just like, unless you're a millionaire, screw you, basically. You gotta give at least a $10,000 down payment to even attend the auction. It's like, yeah, it used to be like $1,000. I don't have that kind of money laying around. But, I mean, if for somebody that's able to go and do that, yeah, I'm sure it's an amazing income right now. Because typically what investors used to do was they would go to this county auction there, and they would go and they would buy these houses up for like $500, some for, you know, $1,000 to $2,000 or whatever else. So usually it was pretty good money. Like, I remember when I used to do that, like, there was no complaints whatsoever. It was a very lucrative thing. But now it's kind of gated behind already having accomplished lucrative things to be able to accomplish. Now, I might be thinking, what happened to all those savings? It's called I had a lunatic mother that for a boss. And we're just gonna leave it at that. Because, yeah. Kind of, it's like at one point where you see, like, you know, 2 paid-off cars, you know, can go ahead and buy the house there at the time. Still got like, it was like 15, no, it was like 13k in savings and whatever else. I was like, surely there's no way this can get screwed up, and then just like within a month, they found a way. Hi there, Mr. Vale. How's it going? The fact that you're dressed up for streaming tactics Ogre appetites makes me feel underdressed to write novels from home. Well, I mean, you said I gotta do it, so now I gotta do it. So this is the way that we're doing it now. Let's go rotate them suits. At least, hey, it gave me an excuse to get the dust off them, you know? Haven't attended a meeting in God knows how long. At least not one that wasn't over the phone. Alright, let's see how we're doing here, because we got about 10 minutes left. Yeah, god dang it, I won't be able to finish it today. Alright, well, anyway. Yeah, it's definitely looking like FF Retro's winning this one. Like, I almost want to say as soon as they start gaining the upper hand, just call it, because seriously, we got 10 minutes. Do we want to call it that FF Retro won this one? Because they've already lost now 3 dudes, as opposed to the no casualties that they've inflicted. Mostly because they've got far less recovery options. And the fact that Mog is absolutely wrecking face over here with all of his dances. Let's see, we did the Marie Kondo thing for clothes this weekend and discovered just how much dust is in her closets. Marie Kondo? How does one marry a condo? That doesn't work at all. Somebody's feeling busy, so they decide to go do some business with the closet door. Anyway. Wow, that was a lot of misses in a row. Alright. Okay, they managed to take out Strago. But yeah, no, this is definitely going to FF4. So, yeah, that's Vandal Hearts out of the fight. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and speed around these because we're basically right at the end here. There's no way that they can make a comeback after all that. Let's see. Does this Spark Joy lady on Netflix? Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. All right, so we'll just go ahead and call that one because they're getting absolutely curb stomped. So we'll do Souls and Phantasy Star, I think. So if anyone starts getting curb stomped, then we'll just call it right there, and maybe we might be able to finish this in time. Yeah, Phantasy Star versus Dank Souls. Then we'll just fast forward through it, I think. And there we go, fast forward. Basically cleaning slash keeping on the things you care about. Yeah, I wish we could do more of that. We've attempted to do that multiple times, and then every time just more stuff ends up coming in. There we go, we'll turn off all these notifications. Just fast forward through this. Like, every time that we try to clean everything out, like, we have this whole playroom set up back here. Like, every time we clean it out, and everything looks organized, another holiday rolls around. And just suddenly it's just like a wave of new stuff. Because then we'll go to the store and it's like, oh, you know, things on sale, you know, go pick up this thing, go pick up this thing, oh wait. You know, relatives decided to go bring all this stuff over. You know, hey, there's some stuff over here that people don't need that we could go, you know, we could go grab that for free. And yeah, no. It's like, it just keeps going and going and going. It's like, well, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do to get away from all this stuff? And we keep promising we're only going to keep the stuff that we need, and then more stuff comes in. See, already minimalist, only saw enough to fill my house. Yeah, I should have seen my apartment when I first moved into my first apartment. It was like, basically a... Oh wait, I just noticed why it's stuttering. There we go. That should fix it. It was like a bed frame, a TV, and my computer. It was like nothing else in there. Every time my wife would... Well, girlfriend at the time, but wife would come over. It's like, yeah, we need to get more stuff in here. I'm like, oh, I got my dresser. I got a thing to sleep on. I get, you know, it's fine. I got my work over there. Got a TV I don't use over there. Thank you for the host, Mr. Spirwa. Never did see that stream. I don't know if I just didn't get the notification or what. But still. Yeah, I gotta say, it's been years since I wore this. It's like... It's weird. It's like a not quite leather shirt. It's like... suede, I guess? See, didn't stream last night, just finishing now? Oh. Well, either way, hello, Spirwa. Spirwa! See, Does it spark joy? No, but we still keep it. Well, you gotta. Sometimes you just gotta keep that random crap. Like I have this this one thing that we ended up getting back. It was just like this little kind of chest, not chest of anything. It's just a plastic drawer thing, full of old crap from when I was a kid. All right, so let's see. We got Phantasy Star versus Dark Souls. Who do you guys think wins it? Like I'm thinking Souls. Like it's probably gonna come down to Souls and FF4 right now, or GOT, one of those. And I'm only fast forwarding because we got about 5 minutes to get through 3 fights. So sorry about the sound being all jacked. Wait, do it and see what you notices? What, you mean as far as clearing stuff out? I mean, we both clear stuff out. We try. We try and we try and we try, but there's just too much stuff. There's always something more. And then you get into a new age category, and then suddenly you need all new clothes. Because they suddenly don't fit anymore. And then suddenly, like, they're trying to learn a particular thing, so you get a bunch of stuff to go learn that particular thing, and then it becomes obsolete in a few weeks. It's like, why? So Game of Thrones is still odds on their favorite. Realistically, yeah, they're probably getting it. Like, I think it's fair to say Wild Arms and Pokemon don't really have a chance right now. Alright. Let's see what the kill count's looking at. See if we can call a winner just from what's here. Yeah, no. Souls is totally winning this one. That's not even... No, this is a total curb stomp. Okay, next one. Next fight. I know, we're speed rounding it, but 4 minutes. I think it's fair to say Pokemon Wild Arms would probably end up losing to either of the other teams. So we'll say Wild Arms versus Pokemons, see what they do. Probably should have picked smaller maps for all these, to be fair. Pokemon should win this one, though. Let's see. Oh god, I was talking about smaller maps. This is like the biggest one there is. Oh no. Speed round! Whoa, crap. Nope, nope. How about you don't? Dog gets so upset every time he gets told to not bark at something. But I wanna. You're super threatening. Does the dog spark joy? It sparks me to jump every time he does that. We have a guest dog this week. Who's actually a professional leader dog, which I guess technically speaking, the other guy was too. He just didn't quite make it. But yeah, it's awesome. But they're on vacation for a little bit, so we're watching Mr. Doggo. But he is extraordinarily vigilant of everything around him because they're used to living in a house, so being in an apartment freaks him out. So every time somebody walks by, he's like, "Somebody's at the door! I gotta defend my people!" So, every single time. And he's just over here snuggling up on my foot. Hi there, Mr. Doggo. Mr. Doggo! Okay. Tell you what, screw it. You know what we're doing? What do you guys think are the most likely to win? Because I think it's coming down to FF4 versus Game of Thrones. Alright? Is that a fair call? Because if it comes down to those two, I think we might as well just do that round real quick. And just call that the ending right there. Because, like, realistically, like, Souls has... Well, against FF4, they have no recovery, so they would lose there. And they lost to Game of Thrones before. So I think it's safe to just wipe out everybody but those top two. Do it? Okay. Because, yeah, I don't want to do, like, a separate stream or whatever for, like, 2 fights. Okay. And then, due to... Sure, let's go ahead and save it over here. Due to an unfortunate logistical concern, Dark Souls, Wild Arms, and Pokemon accidentally drove off a cliff, and it's very unfortunate. They'll be in the hospital for the next 3 weeks. So, final fight then. And I accidentally screwed this up a little bit. Hang on. There we go. Alright, Final Fantasy Flourish. Alright, who's the other one here? Game of Thrones? Okay, let's do that. And I am gonna run over... Let's go do a couple things real quick while that's happening. So we're gonna turn off the camera for a little bit and try to let this play out as best we can. Alright, my money's on FF4. I know Mr. Evan was betting on GOT. Let's go ahead and make sure that these messages are automated, and then I'm just going to tape down this fast forward button, and we're going to see what happens. So whatever happens, happens, and I will be right back. Okay, a little bit of a rush on this end. Let's see, who's winning it? Is the audio even on? It is. Alright, let's see here. Reference over the Christ, king of the skies and heaven, then church cited that they didn't want any possible pagan imagery. Heh. Weird. Weirdly enough, even coming from a Catholic background, didn't even know about that. Does make sense though. They really like their wings on stuff. Apparently the wings themselves were, or rather, all of the like cherubs and angels and crap were not even something that was around for quite a while. Because then apparently there's nothing like that in the Bible whatsoever. They're just like vaguely mentioned. But yeah, sorry for the kind of rush here. Technically running a bit over time here. So if I just randomly cut out, you know why. Just curious to see who wins it. Man, this tape sucks. I have the button taped down, but it keeps untaping. Also, crap, I just noticed. This thing is looking all kinds of ugly up here, isn't it? There we go. That's looking slightly less ugly. Wish I would have noticed that sooner. But well. Oh well. It's almost 1-to-1 here, though. Feels like it's probably going to GOT, though. Just because of the curse, the pumpkin pie, and, well, everything else that's going on here. And they've got a Brawn on their team. She just barely survives it. You know, come to think of it, I definitely should have had ability names and stuff like that turned off this entire time. It's so much more immersive without them. You can attach whatever name you want there. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it muted and just leave it running to the very end. And yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. We'll see how it ends. Talk to you soon.